Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Londonderry Town Council meeting. Today is February 20th, and at 2024, and it is 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. Londonderry provided mutual aid this morning to a home fire in Litchfield. We don't know who the person is who passed in that fire yet, but let's please pray for their family and for the tragic time that they're having. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, quick reminder here on public comment. Public comment is 5 minutes. It is the following conduct is prohibited at public comment. Use of profanity or vulgar language or gestures. Language which is likely to lead to a disturbance or disorder because it insults or demeans any person for which it will be directed at a public official or employee and is not related to his or her official duties. However, citizens have the right to comment on the performance, conduct, and qualifications of a public figure. Interruptions, interrupting other speakers and engaging in behavior that disrupts the meeting, including and not limited to applause, cheers, and jeers. Engaging in behavior that threatens or intimidates others. Addressing the council or board on issues that do not concern the services, policies, or affairs of the town. And the most important rule is just be nice. Larry, you had asked if you could address the council on behalf of the Arts Council?
Yes. My name is Larry Casey. I live at 35 Forest Street here in Londonderry, and I am the chairman of the Londonderry Arts Council. I just wanted to provide a quick update on what we're up to as we move into 2024. The last time I was here, the board, the town council approved our charge, which hadn't been updated in a while, and since that's been approved and put into place during our last meeting, all but one of our Arts Council members was sworn in. We appreciate the fact that we were able to do that as a group here in these chambers. The one individual that wasn't able to attend is going to get herself sworn in at the town hall before our next meeting, the second Thursday of March. During our last meeting, we also went through an election process with our board our leadership, and we still have one vote to take in March. We'll update the town website with the officer positions at that time. I wanted to give an update on some of the things that we're moving forward with for 2024, and also collaboration that we're undertaking with other departments here in town. So first and foremost, the planning and booking process for Concerts on the Common is underway. Steve Lee is working very hard to book all those dates. I think he has one left remaining, and what I recommended during our meeting was that Steve and Julie Lee and myself come to a meeting as soon as things are set in place, just to brief you on what the season will look like ahead. I think this is the fourth year in a row we've applied for and received a grant from the New Hampshire Arts Council, and this year they actually increased the grant amount from $5,100 to $5,400. So we received the check in January. That was dropped off with the to the finance department. We're starting our fundraising to past and future sponsors within the next couple of weeks to raise money for concerts. And just by way of breakdown, last year, about 35% of our funding requirements came from the town, 20% from the state, and the rest came from local businesses. And so we're looking to build on that as we move forward. Our total attendance last year was 5,500 people attending the concerts, and when you break it down on the town's contribution to our funding requirements, that's less than $1.75 per attendee over the course of the season. So we're pleased to be able to deliver good value with the concerts we're producing. We've been working with the Leach Library on a number of initiatives. We've had a long-standing program called the Feature Artist Program. So if you go into the library, you'll see 9 easels there. We have artists come in every month to either display their work there or within a cabinet to the right of the reference desk. In March and April, we will have the winners of our youth art contest displaying their work if they would like to. This is something that we put together during COVID, where we were trying to create virtual art opportunities, and this was our 4th year with that, and our 3rd year with that, doing very well with it. So they'll be on display as well. We were also asked by the library to get involved in a mural project that they want to undertake in the children's room. There's some wall space that they wanted to have painted with a mural that had a reading theme. And so they asked our involvement in terms of planning that, judging the work, and to split a small stipend that will be offered to the artist that's successful in that competition. And they have selected somebody, so they'll be moving forward with that. They also recently approached us to see if we would help them put on a special children's concert this summer. And so we're not going to cut into our typical Concert on the Common schedule, but we did agree that we would support them in producing a concert specifically for children on a Saturday afternoon in July. So Steve Lee is working with the library staff on pulling that together, and we'll split the cost of the entertainment for that event as well. We're also working with the Senior Affairs Coordinator, Ilona Arndt. We will be holding our 4th quarterly jam session at the Senior Center on March 3rd, called For the Love of Music. And what we do is we round up some fairly talented musicians to get together. We often have 10 or 12 musicians, and we've had 40 to 60 seniors show up for a Sunday afternoon of music. So that's coming up on March 3rd, and it's going to be a St. Patrick's Day theme. So I'm working very hard on learning Irish music right now. So the other thing that we're going to be doing is we're moving our 9th annual Arts Cafe from one of the local churches to the Senior Center, because we think that's a great space for us to do that. But we're also trying to find ways that we can get more involved with other town departments and leverage what they're doing. So I think by having it there, we're going to attract a lot of seniors for that event. And that is basically a day of art and crafts on display for sale and musicians performing acoustic music in a coffee house type environment. We've been doing that for 8 years now. This will be our 9th annual. So anyway, that's what we're doing. We'll be back probably sometime in March to update everybody on what's going on with Concerts on the Common. So thank you very much for your support, and appreciate the opportunity to share that with you.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Did you want to share something?
It'd be a brief comment. I'd like to take this time to address the comments that were made at deliberative session on February 12th by our town manager. Since this time, I've spoken with over 25 local residents. All the residents, via phone, text, email, they're all very concerned about the comments that were made. Most of them say they were inappropriate and shouldn't have been addressed in a State of the Town address. I have not had an opportunity to address this yet with the town manager, but I want to let you all know that I will address it with him when he returns from his vacation. And I want to take this time to thank all of you for bringing it to my attention. And open dialogue and discussion makes us all better. So thank you guys for bringing it to my attention.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Christine Perez, 5 Wesley Drive. I'm here as a citizen. I have some handouts for you all, too, at the end. I have a quick question. I got the Londonderry Town Lantern today, but only 16 warrant articles were in it. I wondered why the rest of them were not in it. It didn't include, I believe we have 22 warrant articles, but it only had 16. So I'm just wondering why the others were not put in there, unless I read it wrong. Okay.
My guess is that she probably went to press before the deliberative session. It says here Articles 17 through 22 are citizens petitions warrant articles For the full warrant article, please visit londonderrynh.gov/finance. So it probably, I'm guessing it probably went to press before you could have it put on. Is that correct?
It did not go to press before then. If you
your
look in the
honesty.
descriptor up top, it says the town council sponsored warrant articles.
Okay.
These are the only ones that we felt comfortable explaining. And the point behind them, it's not the actual text of the warrant article, it's an explanation of the warrant article.
Okay.
And so that's why those are in there that way.
All right, thank you.
Unfortunately, that can come across as reversed electioneering, but
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree, so please proceed.
I have to admit that I was taken back and somewhat offended by our town managers listening to the State of the Town address. I must also admit that many of his words sounded very familiar, so I looked and found that his battle for the soul of the town came directly from President Obama's speech on September 1st, 2022, when he spoke of the battle of the soul of the nation. I heard many references to ongoing events that are a wonderful part of our town, but occur every year. I heard many attacks on individuals and/or groups, and some praises of individuals that took more than half of his 15-minute and 35-second speech. I heard him express wants on specific warrant articles, and then went on for an attack on a community member, knowing full well, as he is a lawyer, that she cannot go after him with lawsuits. Now, let me update you on what a state of a city should include.
You can leave them with Cameron, he'll bring them to us. I said you can leave them with Cameron, he'll bring them to us.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now, let me update you what a state of a city should include. Budget revenues and spending priorities. What was the budget in 2023? Was it stable? Did we go over it? Did we go under it? What did we buy? Number 2, economic development, new businesses. New Balance, which was a huge thing that came to this town in 2023, was not even mentioned. How about local small business owners? What are we doing? What work is being done to attract these small businesses? Number 3, public safety. Oh yeah, he did mention a poor intersection. New fire trucks, new fire chief, new police, new things for the, and I know it's not called DPW, but programs that departments have put into place. Key objectives for the year ahead. Water is not the only problem that we have in this town. There are other key objectives. A state of the town or state of the union or state of the city address is not a public forum to chastise and belittle people any more than being a town council member is. I hope you got one. I would like it to go directly to Mr. Malaguti.
Thank you.
Jonathan Esposito, 5 Shelley Drive. Thank you, Mr. Dunn, for your comments earlier. I just wanted to echo my communication to the town council and the town moderator for last week, and I wanted to repeat my request, perhaps that the remaining councilors who have not expressed follow-up commentary would like, to see if you'd like to take the opportunity to apologize for not raising a point of order or to address the impropriety of Mr. Malaguti's remarks at the town deliberative session on Saturday, February 10th. I highly encourage anybody in the room or who's watching tonight to go back and watch that 15-minute tirade if they have not done so already. I understand that none of you are the town moderator who is in fact charged by statute with the conduct of that meeting, and perhaps probably should have curtailed or asked Mr. Malaguti to rein in his remarks. But every one of you is an elected member of our legislative body who claim to represent us in our best interests, certainly could have taken the opportunity to raise a point of order, to engage someone in dialogue with who you apparently have a close working relationship with. I believe he referred to you as a father figure, Mr. Chairman, and to perhaps suggest that he tone his remarks back a little bit. The fact that no one other than Mr. Dunn has addressed these remarks suggests that not only that were you folks aware of the remarks that he was going to deliver, but your standing ovation afterwards also suggests to us as residents that you approved of them. I heard an individual, Mr. Malaguti, who does not reside in this town, does not pay taxes in this town, and has no skin in the game. I heard him dress down Citizen Deborah Paul as a former councilwoman and give his unqualified opinion as to whether or not he felt she was acting appropriately as a journalist while she was in local government. I have to note that his remarks were hypocritical and a double standard because he, as the town manager, has utilized his public office to express his opinions on how citizens conduct himself in letters to the editor in that very same paper. I'd also like to point out that it's a significant double standard when we have a town clerk who utilizes a rather lengthy column in the Derry News week to week. It's a wonderful column. I love reading it, but she certainly expresses her opinions on what's going on in the community and signs off as the town clerk. So why Mr. Malaguti would be allowed to go on a tirade about Deb Paul's behavior from years ago, but not address the same behavior continuing from members of our elected government right now, seems like a significant double standard. I'd also like to point out the fact that, quite frankly, he lied. He either intentionally obfuscated or outright lied, and I'll leave it to you as our legislative body to make that determination. This is not the first time that he has asserted that any number of citizens who raise concerns with local government are simply malintended muckrakers who desire nothing more than to somehow tear Londonderry down. Nothing could be further from the truth. All you need to do is walk down the aisle at Market Basket or chat up another resident in line at Dunkin' Donuts, or go on one of many of the town's Facebook pages, and you'll see that there are a wide variety of citizens who have great concerns with how Londonderry is governed, and they come from a wide variety of backgrounds. They've resided in town for greatly varying lengths of time. There's no common ground there. There's no small group of muckraking citizens who are desiring to tear the town down. There is a significant contingent of citizens who would like to see our local government function more like it's promised under Article 1, Section 8 of our state constitution, which says that it's supposed to be accountable, transparent, and responsive. Many citizens do not feel that our current government in Londonderry is that. And I would appreciate it if you folks would not only address that, but address the impropriety of Mr. Malaguti's remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Glenn Douglas, 6 Overlook Ave. I just had a question. I'd sent this to the town manager 2 weeks ago, but I guess he chose not to respond. We have two people running for town clerk. Back 10 years ago, there was a warrant article to split. We had one town clerk tax collector position. We split it as a cost savings. The town clerk started at $37,000 a year, and now with the last annual report available online, we're just over $71,000. I asked the town manager how we set the compensation for the clerk, specifically because we have two people running. If for some reason another person takes position, how do we set the compensation? I know there's different ways in other towns, but because we are a town council form of government with a charter, there's always little twists. So I'd like to know how that's set. The other thing I would bring up is I really have a problem with the Lantern only explaining the first 16. Everything should be put out there. The last one I'll bring up is Article 21, which created a lot of chatter online the other day. It was asked at the deliberative if there were any details exactly what that meant. The town moderator said, well, you're reading exactly what I'm reading. However, if you watch the YouTube video and you listen to the YouTube video, you can clearly hear that the town attorney was explaining a little bit more about Article 21 to both the moderator and I believe the chairman of the town council, but it was pointed out that there was no one to explain exactly what 21 means. So I just think that's,
Thank you. Anything else?
Tony DeFrancesco, 1 Cheshire Court. I'd like to change it up a little bit. I'd like to thank the council. Some of you weren't sitting at the time, but quite a few years ago, we had a serious problem in Londonderry with the power going out on pretty much every cloudy day. And the town council, in its wisdom, mandated that the power company come in and have a visit with you. And in no uncertain terms, they were told, fix it. They actually came 3 different times, and all 3 times they were told, fix it. At the time, it was 2023, 2022. People should have reliable power. My observation is, and I want to thank you, because I believe that those meetings worked, because we've had many cloudy days this year, and the power hasn't gone out. We've also had quite a few windstorms, ice storms, snowstorms in the past 2 years, and particularly where the major problem was, south of 102, south of Londonderry, we had serious problems of 3, 4, 5, 10 days with no power, and that has not happened. So I want to thank the council for doing what you did at the time, and I'd like you to remember my comments and the fact that part of your job is to call these folks in and help us out, and you all did that, and I want to say thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, not seeing anything further, public comments closed. Anything further from the council before I move on? Okay, couple of quick things. One is I received a number of inquiries regarding these citizens petitions. I did not know about the Londonderry Lantern piece until just now. Generally, the citizens petitions are sent to us prior to getting signatures. It's always been offered that we'll have our attorneys look at them, look at the legality of them, no charge to the petitioner, and have them suggest language or whatever the case may be. We did not receive them. They all were received at the same time on the last day, sometime in the afternoon. So we did, by statute, we had to have them ready, I think, in less than 48 hours. So they had to go to, the signatures all had to be checked, they had to go to the attorney, and then according to state law, they had to be presented the way they are. The onus is on the petitioner to explain the warrant articles. Again, I don't know why it was in the Lantern the way it is, was not something we were asked about, but the petitioners, the onus is on the petitioner at that point to explain them. For people's understanding, I had multiple meetings with attorneys last week to understand all of these, and also meetings with the state. We are a town charter SB2 form of government. If you don't know what that is, that's how we govern under 46D. And we have a town charter. So for all those who have been asking about these, I asked the admin to get me a copy of them, release them in the minutes, so that if people want to see the citizens' petitions, they're all here. Release them in the minutes. People can go out and they can look at them. Perhaps, I don't have enough knowledge to know what some of the intent was. Maybe some of the people who signed it can explain intent to people, but they're all here. Please release them to the public so that they can get informed in any way that they need to be informed. All right, with regards to, is there anything else before I move forward to the agenda? Okay. All right, we have a public hearing. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Ordinance 2024-01, amendment to the zoning ordinance relative to rezoning map 10, lot 92. So Kelly, you have that for me, and we have presenters.
Yes, Mr. Chair. If I may, before the presenters provide a brief overview.
Absolutely.
The proposed rezoning request is for 105 Hillside Ave. It's currently an existing 16.5 acre vacant parcel located near the Londonderry Dairy town line. The parcel is currently zoned agricultural residential, and the proposal is to rezone the parcel to commercial 2. The planning board held a public hearing on January 3rd of this year and has recommended approval of the rezoning request.
Gentlemen, please identify yourselves for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is Kevin Smith, and I'm here tonight representing the applicant, who is Wyndham Realty LLC, represented by one of the owners, Stephen DeLuca. Wyndham Realty LLC, the owner of the property located at 105 Hillside Ave, as Kelly mentioned, is seeking rezoning of the parcel from its current designation as AR1 residential to C2 commercial. The property's unique positioning represents a compelling case for this rezoning request. Currently, half of the property shares its western boundary with adjacent C2 commercially zoned properties, while the other half abuts residential properties to the east. A comprehensive historical review of the property's land use reveals that at one point it received conditional approval for an age-restricted residential development consisting of 50 or so homes. More recently, in 2014, the Londonderry Zoning Board of Adjustment granted a variance to permit 96 units of workforce housing on this site. However, the owner now seeks a rezoning to C2 to facilitate the development of an indoor vehicle and boat storage facility. This proposed use is notably less intensive than the previously considered residential development. It promises to generate significantly less neighborhood traffic and will result in fewer public safety calls for service. In the applicant's commitment to inclusivity and community engagement, the property owner has proactively engaged with the residential abutters. These discussions have indicated general favorability among most, but not all of the abutting residents towards the zoning change. It is worth noting that the prospect of a high-density residential development is not appealing to most of the residents, and this proposed change aligns with the neighborhood's interests. That said, some of the residents, rightfully so, do have concerns about the eventual layout of the storage buildings, and to that end, we are committed to working closely with them through the site plan approval process to ensure that their concerns and suggestions are taken into consideration. Moreover, the property owner has sought input from the town of Derry, and there have been no objections or concerns raised by the town regarding the proposed zoning change. So in light of the aforementioned considerations and the harmonious fit of the proposed rezoning with the surrounding area, we request the town council's thoughtful and favorable consideration of the zoning change for the property. And your support in this matter would contribute to the sustainable development and well-being of the local community. And I would just draw your attention to some of the pictures we've provided for this evening. So there's the property is outlined in green there. You see it abuts the Derry town line. And so that would be with the zoning change to C2. Go to the next one, Kelly.
Is this part of the old Cal's Vineyard?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Again, that is this is the property in question with the star there. You can keep scrolling, Kelly. There's an aerial of it. And that's looking at it from the north side. Go to the next one. It's looking at it from the south. There it is looking east. And there it is from the western part. And then we did also provide, so one of the things that the planning board had recommended is that we show a very back of the napkin conceptual of how these two proposed buildings could be placed on the property. And I would note this is a very rough draft, but these are basically two buildings, each 30,000 square feet in size. And the plan would be to get approval to build both, however, only building one first to see how that goes, whether or not it fills or not. And depending on how that works out, build the second one as well. And there would only be, we imagine, one means of egress in and out on that. But again, that is very back of the napkin. Just some last things I would mention. The applicant did go before the ZBA a number of years ago, I think 2018, to seek a variance to build essentially a parking lot on the site here for their overflow for the New England Auto Auction, which they also own. And the ZBA denied that variance request, stating that there wasn't a hardship, essentially because the land can be developed as residential, and that is consistent with their previous rulings where they did permit more high-density housing on the site here. It is not the applicant's desire, again, to build residential, but if they're left with no choice, their intention is to go forward with the residential, mostly because they have the right to do so on that property. The question came up during the planning board meeting about, how do we know this isn't going to be a bait and switch where if we rezone it to C2, you're going to come in with something completely different. And I think that, again, is a legitimate concern. And my answer to the planning board was, the DeLucas have been really good business owners in town for a number of decades and have a very good reputation. And I think hope and plan to continue doing work in this town in the future. And I don't think it would cast a very good light on their reputation or mine, quite frankly, if we were to come in with something different other than what is being proposed here. And lastly, I believe you should have in your possession at least 4 letters from some of the abutters supporting this zoning change. With that, would open it up for any questions.
Questions from the council? I'm passing the letters around. Nothing from the council. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to address the council on this subject only? Yes, sir. Hi, sir. Can I just have your name and address, please?
Of course. Hank Fakovic, 23 Beacon Street, and we are I'm sorry. I'm speaking for my wife and I. You have a letter in your in the packet, and we very firmly support the plan. Stephen and Kevin have been very forthcoming with information, very receptive to our concerns, and we started out with a great many concerns about the project. And we feel this will cause the least negative impact on the town, on the neighborhood, and we fully support it.
So you'd much rather have this than the approved residential that was there?
Absolutely, that is a risk. Sorry, putting high-density housing in there is not what Londonderry needs. It is going to cause expenses to public safety, to the school district. We definitely do not want any form of housing in there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from the public? Seeing nothing further. Oh, sorry, sir. Sure. Hi, sir. Please name and address, please.
John Wilson, Tranquil Drive. I'm not against this at all. I don't live over there. I've only been down that street twice, maybe in my life. Okay. But one thing that I am sensitive to, you can drive around town, and if you take a quick look, you'll be sensitive to it. And that is, I'm sensitive to any time anybody builds anything that's the last lot next to a residential area. So it's really a question of that buffer zone, to make certain that the buffer zone is really a buffer zone, okay? A perfect example of that is when you go down Gilchrist Road and you look, east, where those new houses are built along the water, with the lake pond, whatever it is over there, and you see houses that effectively the backyards are facing the street. And there's a buffer zone there of 2 rows of trees. That's a perfect example of how not to do it. So I think in approving this, I think you should make certain that they end up with a good buffer zone that's going to stand the test of time. That's all.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your comments. I'm sure you will see to it that, I know there's some hilly terrain there that can be used, and that the planning board is rather stringent around buffer zones with residential, so let's make sure that that happens, yes.
There is a required 50-foot buffer whenever C2 abuts AR1, so there will be a 50-foot no-cut.
Yeah, and as I remember, there's a hill there and everything else too, so. Anything further? Yes, Jim?
Yeah, with regards to the buffer zone, one of the gentlemen that wanted to put housing there, I had met some of the residents that abut it, and it's very important. That's a steep ledge, and it's very important, and they were making sure that that buffer zone was a buffer zone. And there was also a major concern about light. So those things, you know, I take your word for it. You've been in town a long time. Let's make sure that that's taken care of, because if it's not, you're going to hear from me. Make no bones about it. Now, for people that don't understand it, is this similar to the Vault Storage Center over in Merrimack?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything further?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-01.
Second?
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes in the affirmative. Ordinance 2024-01 has been adopted. Thank you. Thank you. Take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes in the affirmative. We have no new business, no old business. I need approval of the February 5th minutes as presented in our packet.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes in the affirmative. I need a motion to accept the resignation of Al Sypek from the planning board.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I need a motion to appoint Jason Knights as a full member of the planning board.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Jason, please see the clerk and be sworn in. What do we have for liaison reports? Anything?
Nothing at this point.
Nothing right now, as I have not been able to attend the last planning board meetings due to having recent back surgery.
Alrighty, so Old Home Day planning should probably be starting up here pretty quickly. We're probably also looking at, if you heard today, there's some, the airport director has been busy getting new airlines. So there's a lot of new announcements coming out of the airport. Anything for the town manager report?
Mr. Chair.
All right, do we, let's see, anything further from the council? All right, so my understanding is this March 4th meeting, I think they've asked for it to be moved to 6 PM. I was asked about that. Keep that on our radar. It says 7 PM here, but I think it's going to get moved to 6 PM. We're going to be over in the cafeteria. The state's going to be here as part of the agenda to address a number of the questions about the water concerns and to answer some questions about the water article. So put that on your calendar and do keep in mind and watch for it. I believe it's going to be changed to 6 PM. Anything else?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes in the affirmative. We are adjourned.